Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley Estes here at the Mountain View Cottage. I share a lot of lifestyle content for large families, including homeschool, cleaning, organization, and foster care. Today is a homeschooling video. This is going to be me reviewing the curriculum that we used in the 2023-2024 school year. It is currently May, and we have wrapped up our school year, so I just kind of wanted to take you through what we used. I've shared in my last summer's videos the curriculum that we used, but now I'm going to give you my full review of those curriculums. I'm going to try and not make this super lengthy, so we are going to dive in. Let me first start by saying this was our 4th year homeschooling, and we have used some of the same things year after year because they are tried and true. First, I'm going to go into all of the things that we use in our group subjects. The ages of my children, which I have 6 of them, 5 of which are homeschooling ages. I have 2 13-year-olds, an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So we had kindergarten, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th and 7th grade. So let's dive into the group stuff that we used. I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I'm just going to share my stack of what I have. So for poetry this year, we use the Favorite Poems, Old and New, selected by Helen Ferris, illustrated by Leonard Westgard. The way that we used this was super simple. We did it once a week on Thursdays. I passed the book around to a couple of my kids, had them pick out a poem, and we read them. I love these poems. This was such an easy way to do poetry. It was a way that engaged my kids and they enjoyed it. This book is thick. We certainly didn't get through it all. There's so many different subjects that are in here. Like, I just opened up to this page and there is the lion, the monkeys and the crocodile, the sing-song of the old man kangaroo. So a lot of like nature poems and just really wholesome, good poems. My kids loved this. This was a hit. We will use this again next year for poetry. It was just a really easy way to do poetry, and we all loved it. The next thing I'm gonna go over is history. There were some things that we used and there were some things that we didn't use. So not to say that we didn't like these things, we just decided to simplify, and simplifying is always a great choice. So the core of our history curriculum was the story of the world. This is our 2nd year using this. So we used the 1st edition last year, volume 1 last year, and this year we used volume 2, the Middle Ages. About 3/4 through the year, a friend of mine who was also using this curriculum with her kids said that they listened to the Audible version. So I downloaded the Audible of this book, and we love the narrator. He's hilarious. Very lively in the way that he narrates this book. So we loved that addition to using that this year, is having listening to the chapters with the Audible version. So highly recommend that. Thank you to my friend Chantel for encouraging us to do that. We love this. This is such a simple way to do history. The chapters are not super long. The chapters are also broken up into about 2 or 3 headings. So if you don't want to go through a whole chapter, there's very easy stopping points within this. It's written in story form, so my kids really enjoy that and are engaged by the stories and can tell them back to me because they're listening and comprehending what is being said. All the ages from my 13-year-old down to my kindergartner could tell me what we were learning. So the story of the world is great. One of the things we've not used with the story of the world is the kids' journal, or the student journal, or the test and quiz booklet. We've only ever just listened to it, and that has worked great for us, but I think we're gonna switch things up next year, and you'll see some of that in my history curriculum haul for this upcoming school year. It was suggested in a homeschooling Charlotte Mason group to also include Marvels of the Orient with our history curriculum. I'm not gonna lie, this is a great book. The stories are wonderful. They're very engaging. We got through, got to page 55 in here. So we read this much of it. And about the first half of the year, I decided to nix this. Not because we didn't enjoy it, because we truly did, but because I just needed to simplify. We are, like I said, a foster family, and we have had a teen and a baby in our home this past year, and the dynamics of that were kind of wild and crazy. And so simplifying was something that we needed to do. So loved it, didn't use it all the way through the year just because we simplified. But I would recommend this if you want to learn about the Great Pyramids and the history of Egypt. Really great book. Next up, I'm going to talk about Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a core part of the Charlotte Mason curriculum. We really do love Charlotte Mason's style education. We don't adhere to it 100%, but I did want to include Shakespeare. The previous school year, we used Tales from Shakespeare, written by Charles and Mary Lamb, and we loved this. This basically breaks down each of Shakespeare's notable stories or his plays into a story format that's very easy for many ages to comprehend, including elementary and middle and high school, and it worked really good for us. This year, a curriculum that I was following encouraged us to get these books by William Shakespeare, and it's just a very thorough breakdown of the play. And this was a miss for us. This was just too much, too heavy. It made Shakespeare not fun for us. And so we didn't use these very much. We stuck with this. I think going forward, we're just gonna use Tales from Shakespeare to teach Shakespeare in our homeschool. No, it's not the true language of Shakespeare, but it is a way that we are learning about Shakespeare and his stories that is working for our family. And if it's working for our family, I'm not going to, break away from that. So if you're looking for a gentle, nice, and fun way to introduce Shakespeare into your homeschool, highly recommend this. The next two things I didn't have a lot of, I didn't have high expectations of, but they ended up really wowing us this year, and we will continue to use them next year. And these are the books that we used for our musician study, as well as our artist/painter study. The first one is The Complete Book of the Great Musicians, written by Percy A. Scholes. This we got through about a little less than half of it. And we switched back and forth. 1 week we would do a painter or an artist, and then the next week we would do a musician. So the painter book that we used was Stories of the Painters by Amy Steedman. Loved both of these books equally. They are a really great way to introduce these mostly men and women in history, these great composers and artists, and it really brought their stories and their history to life. We loved these books, and because we only got halfway through both of them, we will use these again next school year. Absolutely. This was part of our morning time that we did as a group, and each chapter is highlighting a different musician or painter. So we learned about Mozart and Chopin, and we learned about John Sebastian Bach. These are written once again in story form. These are living books, and they are just such a really great way to do artists and musician studies in a fun and engaging way. My kids all enjoyed these. The chapters aren't very long. There's lots of subheadings in each of the chapters of each person that it's dedicated to, which makes it so great to stop if you don't want to go through the whole thing in one sitting. And that's kind of what we did. We just focus on one of these people each week, either the musician or the artist, and it was very doable, especially with us trying to simplify things. Doing one person per week was perfect. The next thing was the backbone of our morning time. I've shared about this before, so it will be no surprise to you that we love Treehouse Nature Study Spring. We use the Treehouse Nature Study Summer and Spring study guides this school year. The previous school year we did fall and winter, and we're gonna rotate back through them again next year because we love them so much. So each of these is broken down into a week with a theme. And so here is the table of contents. There are 13 weeks in the spring edition. The first one is seeds and sprouts. The second one is rainbows. The third week is the spring equinox, all the way down to week 13, which is pond life. And then each week there is let's see here. Let me go to my version of it. Each week there is a song that you get to sing. We were able to find every single song on every single song on YouTube, which made it super easy to do these as a family. There is a hand rhyme. If you go to the Treehouse Nature Studies YouTube page, they show you how to do each of the hand rhymes, and my kids love that. They especially love when the kids pop up in the videos and are showing you how to do it. So for this week, it's Crawly Bug as the hand rhyme, and the song is Don't Fly Away by Frances England. There's also a poem that goes with each week. So this one on the week of Beetles was Click Beetle by Mary Ann Hoberman. And there is always a handwriting practice with part of or all of the poem. And then there is a art picture study. So here's the one for the week of Beetles. And each week in the teacher guide, it shows you how to go through each week, what to do and introduce to your children each week. And the way that we do it is we sing the song every day, we read the poem aloud together every day, and we do the hand rhyme every day. And then there's also in the teacher guide a list of books that go with each week. So there's some fiction books and nonfiction books for this week, which is the last week, Pond Life. And I would simply just get onto YouTube and look up a book. For instance, we reread or had someone read to us Over and Under the Pond by Kate Messner. And it makes it so easy to use the book list without having to check out books at the library or spend a lot of money on books. And we have been doing this for 2 years now. Love this curriculum, highly recommend it. I have purchased just the PDF downloads for each season. There's 4. I hope that maybe she'll come up with some additional ones because we love them so much and would totally utilize them. And then I've just printed them out, and each of my kids has a binder, and I just have switched them out of the binders and stowed away the previous version we've used in a file box for us to use again. So really wonderful. And also a really affordable way to do nature study. And there's also getting outside and being in nature. There's suggestions for that in the teacher guide as well. So that concludes all of the, oh wait, hold on. One of the things that we did this year was we used the Scholastics library biography books. I loved this so much. It was super bite-sized, but in-depth enough for my children to really understand a person in history. And the book that we used this year was Helen Keller. My kids love this. We watched the movie, the most recent movie that came out with Helen Keller, about Helen Keller, after we finished the book. And it was super easy to get through, but really helped my kids understand who Helen Keller was. And they would bring her up in conversation like they knew her throughout the school year. So I think this did the perfect job of being a very easy way to do biographies. I love this so much that I have purchased more of the Scholastic biographies to use next school year because it worked so well. So that concludes all of our group study stuff that we did to get together as a family, except for one thing that I love and want to mention, and that is World Watch News as well as scripture study. World Watch News is such a great news option for Christian families to just kind of be up to date on world events. It's a non-biased news company. I'm not paid to say this. I'm not an affiliate of them. We just have really enjoyed it, and we would listen to their daily clip. We've subscribed to the full version every day this school year. Last school year, we just watched the portion of it that's free on YouTube, but we loved it so much last year that I went ahead and subscribed so we could watch the full version. Thankfully, they also have an app, so we could put it on our smart TV and just watch it straight on our TV, which was great. And then scripture study. For scripture study, we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so we use the Come Follow Me curriculum, and we were in the New Testament at the beginning of the school year, and then switched over to the Book of Mormon the second half of the school year. I hope to implement some different things next year, but like I said, we were really simplifying this school year, and so we just use the Come Follow Me manual that our church puts out that's absolutely free. So now I want to dive into the curriculum that my children used individually and just give you a quick blurb about how we felt about them. So we have used the Good and the Beautiful handwriting for all of my children every single school year. I decided to try a different one for my twins this school year, and I regretted it. I kept my girls and my kindergartner in the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. Wish I'd kept everybody in it. It's just a really well done handwriting program. It's an easy win for my kids. They enjoy doing it. And my daughter, who is, she was in 6th grade this year, she loved it so much that she only writes in cursive now. And I completely attribute this handwriting curriculum to that. So she's been using it for the last 4 years, and she completely can write in cursive, which I feel is a lost art. And my kids just really enjoy it, all of them. No one complains about it. The next thing is 3 of my kids use the Good and the Beautiful English language arts. And the same 3 kids will use them again next year because we love it so much. This is just an example of the level 1. Last year I had a kid using the 6th grade level. My other daughter was in the 3rd grade level, and my kindergartner used the kindergarten level of the Good and the Beautiful language arts. And I just think it's a great curriculum for English language arts. It's very well rounded. It works with spelling, it works with geography. It helps teach grammar rules and spelling rules and writing as well. And it's just a really great curriculum, and we have enjoyed it. The reason I don't use it for my twins, who are 13, is they will be going into 8th grade next year. The reason I don't use it for them is they both have learning disabilities, and so we use something a lot more simplified for them, and I'll talk about that in a future video. But I did share their curriculum picks on my channel last year. If you want to learn more about what I use for them, you can find that in a previous video. On that same note, the same 3 kids, my 6th, 3rd, and kindergartner, all use the Good and the Beautiful math. This is our first year using the Good and the Beautiful math. Loved it. Think it's a really great curriculum. It's very well rounded. It works very well for my students who used it this year. That being said, some of my older kids will be switching to a different math next year. And actually, that's not true. 4 of my kids use this because my twin boy, who doesn't have as much of a learning disability, did use this math program part of the year. But anyway, really like this math. I recommend it if you have a child who is just, on par for their grade level and not struggling. It works really good. The next thing, this is actually, so I don't have them in front of me, but I used master books for my son, who was in 7th grade this year, but he performs on a 5th grade level because of his learning disability. He used master books for English language arts as well as math, and that was a huge win for him this year. I feel like he was able to accomplish his homework more independently this year, which was a goal I had for him, as well as not feel like he was drowning in too much work because of his specific learning disabilities, as well as his diagnosis of ADHD. This can be a little bit fluffy. There can be a lot of work in here and a lot of switching from one thing to the next thing, which I love for my students who do well with this, but for my students that struggle, having a more straightforward math program like the Master Books program is great, and that goes for their English Language Arts program as well. It's a lot more simplified, a lot more straightforward, less problems, but they still are learning and growing. And so while I don't have them in front of me, I highly recommend those if you have kids who maybe are struggling with their grade level. That would be a really great choice, and has been the choice that I have ultimately picked the last 2 years for my twins who have learning disabilities. Actually, I thought we were done with group subjects. We have one last thing I forgot to mention, and that is science. We have been using the Good and the Beautiful science for the last 4 years, and we have now done all of them, except for a couple that I'm just not really feeling. We have done pretty much every single one of their science curriculum. So this year I'll show you what we used. Kingdoms and classifications, health in the physical body, botany. This was really great. We did this one first this school year, along with planting our garden, and it was really cool. And marine biology. We enjoyed all of these courses. We were able to get through 4 of them in a single school year. I love the way that they're laid out. I love the updates that the Good and the Beautiful has made over the last couple of years to the science unit, so that now they're very open and go, and they come with student journals. My kids love the student journals. They work well for my kids who are younger and older. There are science experiments in them, hands-on learning activities, and it's just an overall really great science curriculum. That being said, next year we will be moving on to something different because I don't love to repeat science, and we've done almost every single one of the Good and Beautiful science curriculums over the last 4 years, and it's time to try something different, and I'm really excited to try what we're going to do next year. So if you enjoy these kinds of videos, the last thing is we only had one true literature read aloud for the entire year. It just took us all year to get through it, and that was the Fellowship of the Ring. The previous school year we did The Hobbit. That was a lot easier to get through. My kids really enjoyed that. The Fellowship of the Ring was a little bit harder, a lot drier for my kids, and it wasn't until we switched to the Audible version as well, which is a suggestion that I have. If you're struggling with a read aloud and there's an Audible version, sometimes that can spice things up and make it a little bit easier to get through. That's what we did, and we finished it on our last day of school. It literally took us from the first day of school to the last day of school to get through the Fellowship of the Ring. We just took it in really bite-sized pieces because some of the chapters are very long, and a lot of descriptions of scenery and all of those things that we love C.S. Lewis for, but are kind of hard for younger kids with shorter attention span. So next year, we're not going to keep going with the Lord of the Rings. I think we've kind of let it run its course, and we're going to do some different stuff. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I will have lots more curriculum videos coming to my channel over the next couple of weeks as we dive into my curriculum picks for the 2024-2025 school year. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I will link the curriculum that I have shared here today in this video, so that if you are interested in it, you can purchase it. I do have an affiliate link, so I get a small commission, but it costs nothing extra to you to purchase from my link. But it is a really awesome way that you can support my channel and help me continue to create content like this. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.